And with that, welcome to Coffee Chats. This is our second virtual coffee chat. My name is Jordan Gentry Nelson, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the Director of Programming here at Big Medium. And Coffee Chats feature leaders in the creative community, sharing their personal and professional experiences to inspire others working in art. And these events all fall under our Creative Standard programming. If you're not familiar with that, that is the professional development wing of Big Medium. And normally these events occur monthly, but with the current situation, we have increased their frequency to happen weekly because there's such a need for community, connection, inspiration, and just keeping art front of mind. So we're excited to be able to do these events weekly and have great speakers like Shelbi. And we are so glad to have Shelbi Mitchell here with us today. Shelbi is a singer, performer, and creative in a lot of different ways. She has years of experience as a program coordinator, marketing strategist, and event planner. And she currently serves as the director of cultural experiences and expression at Six Square, Austin's Black Cultural Arts District. So to get us started, Shelbi, can you give us some background on who you are and how you have developed your career?
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Jordan. That was like beautiful. You made me sound really cool. It's always great to have a great introduction. First of all, thank you, Big Medium, for having me. And this is really dope, Coffee Chats. I'm so glad we get take it virtually. So thank you all for being here this morning. As Jordan said, my name is Shelbi Mitchell. I am from the great city of Austin, Texas. This is my home, born and raised here. I went to UT. I graduated with a BS in Public Relations. I love to sing. I love music. That is my passion. And so that being said, that's the start of my creativity, but it doesn't stop there. You know, I definitely have a passion and appreciation for the arts in many different realms. And so, but like I said, music is where I live. I have two brothers. You know, I come from not a huge family, but a family of love. And we're all here from Austin, Texas. So it's really, yeah, I think that Jordan just made me sound so good. I don't even know what else to say. So from here on out, it's the questions, babe.
Great, native Austinite. I'm from Austin as well. So been around in the city for a long time. So we talked about you and your background. Can you tell us a little bit about Six Square, the organization you work for, and your role there?
I am, as you said, director of cultural expressions and experiences. And so basically, and I've been there for a year. So what that means is I am responsible and have the privilege to get us together as a community and make sure that African Americans are at the heart of putting on these programs. So much of what we do showcases the art, technology, or anything else in between of what the resources that are provided by local African Americans, Black people here in Austin. And so, but we encourage and we invite community. So it looks much like this. And then in the physical space, which we aren't granted right now, it's getting people together for conversations. It's having art shows. It's showcasing music, people that speak. You know, I think we talked about getting into the realm of theater. So there's so many things that we do and we love and that are here and aren't showcased, unfortunately. And so Six Square, along with some other organizations in the city, have taken it upon ourselves. And it's a privilege to do this. But we've taken it upon ourselves to make sure that, you know, we're showing the different aspects of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and just to talk a little, it's Six Square. The name comes from the 6 square miles in East Austin. So you're working within that space. Can you talk a little bit about the district itself and the cultural significance of that area?
Absolutely. Six Square, like you said, is based off of the 6 square miles of actual history, and it comes as a result of the 1928 master plan, which literally institutionalized racism and segregation here in the city of Austin, Texas, where African Americans were forced to move to the east side of I-35, which was then called East Avenue, but many people were already, African Americans and other minorities were living all over the city. And so that's why this master plan is so unique and hurtful in the way that it was done. Literally, their incentive was, we will provide better transportation for you, better schools if you move to this area. And so as a result of that, it became the Negro District, coined that by officials from the city. And, you know, what was meant to be their demise is really a setup for them to create a culture of art, a great economy for that area. And so it became a booming business for African Americans on that side of town, which gave to the economy of Austin, Texas. But yes, so we celebrate that at Six Square, and that's why we're here, is to make sure we preserve that culture of what is still there, educate those that are coming there that don't necessarily know, and if they do know, they don't really have a heart for it. So that's part of the work that we do. Is just making sure that what once was a Negro district, which can kind of be honorable now, what came from it, everything that is still there. We're talking about businesses, we're talking about art, we're talking about the people that are currently being displaced. We work to make sure that we can sustain what is still there, and then also we've taken on a sort of a renaissance, revitalize it in a way with the community and then African Americans to celebrate the actual history of the Six Square District.
Yeah, it's great. It's so wonderful what you do. Thank you. And I just want you to talk more about some of the programs that you do and maybe some examples, storytelling around. I know that you have like a mural program that you've completed recently, and all different, you talked about music. You actually have an event tonight that's continuing during this time. So if you could talk more about the programs.
Oh yeah, so I have the pleasure and privilege to work for this organization. I always get excited talking about Six Square. Our work is so fun, but it's so important in the midst of all of the fun. So we commission different artists to work on murals, to paint successful and respectable, or just people that we look up to in the African American community here in Austin, and then many other people you may know, like Martin Luther King, or just other people that have inspired African American culture and movement and different rights. We also host music, things that involve music. Last year we did musical explorations where we showcase different local artists here in the city. And tonight we are hosting a DJ marathon. It's important to us that we, especially during this time, support African American artists, and then artists, period, with different organizations. As creatives, we are experiencing a pushback in the corner that we've never had before. For a lot of people, this is their means of living. And so we are trying to do the best that we can to support. And so DJs are some of those people, they are in the gig industry and they are being hit hard. So we wanted to showcase 6 different DJs this evening. Tonight starts at 4 to 10. It'll be on our Instagram live. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing. There's so many things. Toasting Topics is another program of ours where we bring people together to facilitate conversations that are important to the community. We're talking about equity. We're talking about creators making their business lucrative. We want to talk about the scheme of African Americans in mental health and what that looks like. And then very frank, African Americans in a predominantly white city. And so I think bringing people, I know and believe, bringing people just to start those conversations helps facilitate all different types of movements. And so that's why we believe bringing people together for conversations is just the beginning of the change that we want to see, because we want to get people together and see that there's a community of people thinking like you are, having the passion for the things that you do. Okay, how do we strategize and move on from here to actually foster change? And so those are just 3 things. And I did fail to mention, there's in the chat, I put 2 links. One is from Austin American Statesman, which shows the transition from 1920s to 2000s and the population of African Americans that live on the East Side in the 1920s, because they were pushed there, to what is today, the 2000s. And you will be able to see the difference, but they do a good job of teaching you about the 1928 master plan, and then what's happened since then, all the way to now, where we are experiencing gentrification. And then another link is our actual website, where you can see the different programs that we have, and in the future, whatever we have coming up.
Awesome. That's a lot. That's great. And yeah, to it seemed like it. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the data was showing that Austin was one of the only urban areas that the Black population was decreasing, and it seems like that is reversing at this point. And I'm wanting to. Oh wait, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Are Black people coming to Austin?
Black people leaving Austin.
Right. That's increasing.
Yes. But it seemed like it's leveling out a little bit, and I'm just trying to give you credit for the work that you're doing. And if you could talk more about those statistics, I just think that Austin is such a unique space, and with the work that you're doing and how that work is impacting with numbers and data.
Right. So we are part of our tenants. We have 6 tenants, and one of those is economic development, in which we are providing financial support to these different African American businesses, Black-owned businesses, Black creatives, Black artists, Black exterminators. Like, they're here, and so that's a part of what we do. As far as the numbers exactly, I'm not completely sure. But we've seen on CNN that the numbers in Austin are Black people leaving is alarmingly high. And so our response to that is the work that we do.
Yeah.
And so, and like I said, the Austin American Statesman does an incredible job of showing that transition. I haven't looked at the numbers since then of the leveling out.
I was trying to look it up, and I just wanted to address it because I had a question about that. I was just curious how that's developed recently. But
I will say this, along with Six Square, there are other organizations coming up. Most of the leaders that I meet, they're not from Austin. So that's an interesting thing to see that they come here. I think it's many of the times they come from where the culture is very, very vibrant, and then they get to Austin, it's a culture shock. So now they're looking for things, and from that, they create different organizations, establishments that just bring a community of people that look like them together, which I think is very important. Representation has always been an important thing, especially for minorities and marginalized people. But I think that's what's happening as far as the leveling out, is that we are seeing each other together. We're seeing that there can be a community here. We're seeing that there can be a community of people that can support a certain type of community, like African Americans. We can support Black business. You can be sustained as a creative. Your lifestyle can be taken care of if you doing the passions that you want as an African American in a predominantly white city.
Yeah. Can you give a personal story or share a story, like the first thing that comes to mind when you think about a specific positive impact that you've been able to make in the community?
A personal story. Oh man.
Or just through Six Square, like through programming, something that.
Absolutely. I definitely can. So not in March, we were definitely under the ban. Then in February, we had a chance to kick off our event, Toasting Topics, which I shared with you earlier, where we want to bring people together to have meaningful conversations and figure out how we can strategize to work the systemic things that are set in place against, minorities here in the city. So we had that, and in that we had a showcase of, it was so many different elements. We had a wine educator there. We had wine there because it was, you could drink there. We also had an artist, Xavier Alvarado. He had a chance to showcase his art. So it was essentially an art exhibit. It was all his art was everywhere in our building. And during that evening, a couple, they came up to, I think they went to my ED, and they were just like, we want to buy this young man's art. And now Xavier, I'm 24 years old. He's around my age. So having that kind of experience where we can actually have our things on the wall, and somebody wants to buy something off of the wall for a very high ticket price, as a young African-American person, to see that and feel that, now my dreams are just fueled, and that it makes things more possible. So being able to witness that and to say Six Square curated a space for that is really, that's rewarding, because that's really what it's all about. And so that was super dope. All in all, I'm not good at telling stories, but
no, that's awesome.
Alvarado had an art piece bought that evening. I don't think he was expecting that, but I was like, everything, is okay if we can tell people you can buy. I mean, they can buy your things. He's like, yeah, that's cool. Bet you can buy anything on this wall. And so from that, it was really dope to see that. That was really dope. Thank you, Jordan, for reminding me. Being just in this room, I just ready to get back out there to do all of these things. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that really resonates and aligns with our mission. Just providing platforms for artists is so meaningful and valuable. Pam is giving you credit that is your brainchild, Toast and Topics. And that also kind of like is familiar with this programming, that just like having conversations, bringing people together is so important. So with the current crisis, can you talk about how you kind of already talked about the event that you're having tonight with the DJs? Are there other ways that you're adapting your programming? And what ways could anyone help the community right now? Do you have any recommendations? You're talking about Black-owned businesses. Like, are there places that we could go to support right now?
Absolutely. There is, Jordan. Thank you so much. So right now we're hosting an online vendor market. Our programming, probably like many other organizations, was skewed because of what's happening. We were actually going to have a vendor market somewhere around this time. And so we just brought that to Instagram. And so what we do is showcase a different vendor each day on our Instagram. We're going to do that throughout really all of this. Our plan was throughout the end of the month, and then actually have physical, a physical real life vendor market. But as long as this is going on, we're going to showcase whoever sends in an online vendor form. We're going to showcase them, and we've actually had people have success with that. They've had some business come through with that. So we're happy and excited about that. So you can go to our Instagram each day at 5:00. We post a new vendor. Cool. That's anything from a food truck, food services, to jewelry, which I'm actually wearing right now. Black Cosmo is a young African-American young lady. She's a black maker here. She makes beautiful work. Let me show you. Let me get close.
All right.
And so
can you put, and you can find all of that on the Instagram.
Yes, ma'am. She's already up. She's been posted. Pam told me to, go ahead and give the people a little show. It's free, y'all. Next one is, we're charging. But that's what we're doing. And then another thing we are doing, we're bringing Toast and Topics, to people's screens. So bring your best glass of champagne, Moscato, whatever your preference is. And we're going to talk about this. It's at the end of this month on the 28th. It's the last Tuesday of this month. We're talking about from a starving artist to your dreams fulfilling your means. And as a creative, that is super important. We're always trying to figure out, how can we make this work for our lives? Can I live off of this? Can I really do this? And so we're bringing Asante Abdullah and another amazing freaking pioneer, definitely in his own right here. He's from New World Audience, and he does the same thing, more so on the lines of music, but now he's incorporating art. So I'm excited to talk with him about everything that he has coming up and how we are working together in the future. But those are two things that we're bringing online, along with some other administrative things we're handling in hopes to bring and uplift things on the East Side, because that's really what we do it. And then for African Americans in the city.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the regularity every day at 5. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Now you can expect it. I want something new, I'm going at 5. I know where to get it.
Yeah.
But people already there, so just go and scan through. We have so many people that have signed up. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Growing up here in Austin, Texas, I didn't see that. Just to be honest, I didn't see Black businesses like that. So this is refreshing for me as an African American who has been here, who kind of knows I know the corners of the city, all of the, the little things, and to have that pop up, that's really inspiring to me as a Black Austinite.
Yeah. I love that, again, that you've been here and you're talking about other people coming in, but you've seen it from the beginning and you've been through all of the change and have stuck through it and are committed to continuing to try to improve our city, which is amazing. It's kind of a big question next, but what are the most challenging and rewarding aspects of your position?
Okay, and just before I answer that question, I do have to acknowledge the rest of my sixth grade team: Damon Johnson, Regine Malabidden, and Pamela Benson Owens. We all work together as a team. This is the sixth grade team, and we're out here. And so shout out to them for being here and supporting me. Okay, so the most rewarding and the most challenging, to get like that one thing.
I mean, anything you want to say about that, just kind of what comes to mind.
I think the most challenging and rewarding thing at the same time is coming up against the systemic things that are in place that have made East Austin what it is now. That's challenging. It's annoying. That side of town is experiencing, along with some other parts of the city, is experiencing gentrification. It's really sad to seeing that. Like I said, being from Austin, Texas, I'm 24. I got 20 years of seeing that side change. And it doesn't get the support, it doesn't get the attention that it needs for the people that are there. So I say a lot of the time, East Austin looks great. Like, what's coming up? This is awesome. This building, this place is so dope, but it's not for the people that are here. That's what's really sad to see. But the most, on the other end of that, the rewarding thing is knowing that we are doing the work to counter that. That is rewarding. Like I said, to see a young man have his painting taken off of the wall after seeing a mural being taken down that's been there for 20 years. It's like we have for everything, we don't have to, but for everything that's been, put up, African Americans, and taken down, we try and all right, what can we do? It's really sad to see the lack of care and concern. And if there is concern, it's usually met with, well, what can you do for us? It's not just for the people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we did this for the side of the town, what is it going to give us? What's going to be, what is the revenue? Which is all important things, but it's like, you're displacing bodies, you're displacing culture, and you have no heart for that. And so that's challenging to come up against, but it's rewarding to say that sixth grade is here to come up against it. That's rewarding.
How are you reaching out to those people that may not be educated? Like, how are you connecting with them, and what tools are you using to educate people about the significance of the culture and preserving it in that area?
So one easy one and quick one is the murals that we put up. People see those, they fall in love with them, and enough of the time they're not thinking of, they're just taking pictures in front of them. One of our most popular ones is off 12th and Chicon, and it's the We Rise, mural, and it has different types of musical artists. Chris Rogers actually put that up back in 2017, I believe.
It's a big community project.
Yep. And so that right there is it's just the surface of it, but it's still a big project. When people see that, they can draw it back to sixth grade. And Toasting Topics, something like that, hosting that, bringing people to have these conversations. It's not just, it might be put on by us, but it's for everybody. It's for everybody to have these conversations, because I truly believe you need the support of the people around your community. So whatever your community is, white, black, purple, brown, whatever it is, it won't go forward completely in the way that it should without all of those hands. This is what I believe. But we can be the ones to foster, but we need support. And so with that support, it looks like funding Black-owned businesses. It looks like buying African-American, people's art, or it looks like having their art as an exhibit in your establishment. That's what it looks like. And that's how we educate people. You are traced back to us by seeing this mural, which is so much more than just a picture that you take in front of it. And then us bringing people together to have conversations, and also the organizations that we work with, and educating them on how to, as establishments and actually people that are leading in the community, how we can band together to work to educate your audience and ours, and then also strategize on what we can do to move forward.
For sure. It seems like community partnerships are so important to cross-pollinate and reach different networks to make sure that we're all on the same page and doing good work
Absolutely.
and holding each other accountable.
Like
Um,
medium.
what?
Big medium.
Yeah, we're so grateful to have you as a partner. We're excited. Hopefully we have plans in the works for East this fall and are going to do good things together. So let's just hope we're all out of quarantine by then. I think I've asked this maybe in a different way, but could you describe a favorite recent project? Or is it something you're working on right now that's exciting for you that you could tell us about?
Favorite recent project. One of my favorite recent projects is definitely the one we did. It's not too recent, but it's recent. It's called Beyond the Square. And so it's our fall festival. That was in October of last year. Really hats off to, like I said, Pam, Damon, and Regine Miley Bidden. They brought that together so wonderfully. I wasn't there in that time, but that is being a part of this team that brought that together. That is a great example of what we try and do. So we hosted vendors, we had musical artists, we had Rex Hamilton artists draw up a big, basically backdrop for people to take pictures in front of. So that was super dope to actually still live on. We have photos of that like magical moment. I can put the link in the chat, but also, like I said, mentioned before, my baby, like for real, toasting topics. It's just so much more than just coming together and just having a good time. It's talking about real things. I'm giving people a space to do that. I think that's super important. I don't see us having the conversations that we should be having about what needs to happen in that community in particular and specifically. So that's why Toasting Topics is so important, and I think is a great project for Six Square, and one that I just really treasure. I think it really pulls together strategy. Like it has an opportunity to birth something for the community. So that's one. That's a good one. But Beyond the Square, be there. Fall Festival. If we can't do it, physically, virtually, it's coming to y'all. We're bringing it to
y'all. So I know that you've put so much love and heart and energy into Toast and Topics. Is there any other dream project that is on the horizon for you that you hope to accomplish in the future? Any big ideas?
Yes. There is we want to host a fundraiser, and it'll be called Suits and Sneakers. And so the idea behind that is that you put on your beautiful dress, your nicest tux, and you're gonna put on some sneakers to finish it all off. So that will be a fundraiser, like I said, always put on by the vendors and the resources that we have, and also to support Black artists in every right and respect, and Black entrepreneurs to that point of economic development. But that's definitely one we hope to have. It was planned for the summer. So hopefully we can still have it. It's a gala. And so that'll be our fundraiser for the summer. I'm betting on it, Jordan. We're gonna be out of here so that we can do it. But yes, that's a dream project of ours, is to put that on and to see people come together, have a good time in a very nice, elegant, but also comfortable way. So yeah, that's definitely one we're looking forward to.
That's exciting. Yeah. And I so appreciate that organizations like yours and others were being creative, we're being resourceful and figuring out ways to make these things happen, to bring programming to the community. So I like that. It's going to happen no matter what.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us like an important lesson that you've learned through your work? Something that sticks out to you as something that happened that you really learned from?
An important lesson for my work would be, the biggest lesson for me was learning about all that there is. Like I said, I'm from Austin, and so seeing all the Black businesses and all the Black people that are here to set up something and make something for Austin, it pushes me to do the work that I do. Even in the position that I sit in, to know this is even possible to help people like that. That is inspiring to me because I didn't, just being honest, I didn't have that around me. So that the lesson is that it's attainable. That's a lesson for everybody, but especially for people where it's not a lot of representation. You can do it. It's out there for you. There are people that are willing to support you. There are people that are willing to take in and ready to take in what you have just as it is. Just as it is. I've seen so many different things that have just blown me away. And it all comes out of Austin, Texas. So that's the lesson that I've learned for myself. You know, I'm just 24, I'm still learning a lot. But yeah, it's attainable and you can have it, you can do it. And so that's a part of the work that Sixth Grade does. We're making sure that people know that we're here for you. And we're gonna set it up to do whatever you need to do to get where you need to be, we're gonna set it up. So yeah. I know it's probably, you know, basic and simple, but that's a lot.
Yeah. Just encouraging people that they don't have to do anything. They just come where they're at and they're accepted that way, and that there's so much potential and that you're so encouraging. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
What advice would you have for someone considering this sort of work?
Wow. It's to take what I just said right there and just don't be like I said, we come up against a lot of things put in place to, you know, hold people down for not just minorities but marginalized people. So you have to have a passion for it. You have to see it beyond your paycheck. You have to see it beyond whatever you feel that day. And say, you know, this is mine. I can have it, and it's attainable, even when it gets really hard. But that's the advice that I would give somebody working in the industry and in the field that I do, yeah, or the people that I work for, against the people, you know, that we are trying to, because it really, I hate to say that, but we have to foster the community even with the people that aren't really considering us. That's the work that we do, and let them know, hey, we can work together, because that's not what comes off at first, sad to say. But yes, you have to continue to push beyond everything that is now and see what's for the future, see the legacy of it all.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. That's sort of all the questions that I had. But again, I think that community engagement and having questions from the attendees that are here with us is so important. So everyone that's been listening in, I just want to give you the opportunity to ask questions for Shelbi. And I'm going to go to gallery view so I can see everybody's faces.
Yeah. I'm looking in the group chat now. So much is taking place.
I know Pam is your cheerleader. It was so funny because you weren't looking at it, but she would almost predict what you were about to say every time. She'd be like, talk about this, and then you would talk about it. And
I know there's some things I have to look on, like, you're right. I need to mention that greatness. Okay.
So y'all are on the same page.
Somebody just requested the links be posted, or somebody requested it. But I reposted.
Yeah, thank you for reposting that.
Okay, I can also talk about
Pam, I know you have questions.
Pam has questions for who?
Let's see. She says, Shelbi, how do you define success for the East Side?
How do I define success for the East Side? Shout out to Pam for a great question. Success for the East Side is because you can say with gentrification, that is bringing, you know, everybody that was displaced, bring them back and give them more. You know what I'm saying? But I believe success at this point for the East Side is the idea and the atmosphere of community. That's what success is. And I feel like that's what's missing there. It's like a little baby piece of, on the extreme, segregation. You have one $1 million looking house on one side of the street, and then on the other side of the street you got a not so $1 million house. So I just think that idea, and that's just an example of what's really happened with the culture there. It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. Me and my peers, we talk about what you couldn't do on some of these streets at a certain time of night, and now we're looking at people that are not from there doing it at 12 o'clock in the morning. And so it's just like, that's interesting to see. So the straight shot answer is the ideal community, just teaching the people that are there in hopes that they embrace it in such a way that they include it in what they're doing. That's what we're not seeing. Like, they're just coming, establishments for the most part are coming and just setting up and without any regard for what was there. That's the part that's very hurtful. We understand, I know we live in a world of capitalism. I get it. I know the dollar is important for a lot of people. That's your means of living. But the heart comes in place of, okay, now let me learn about the space that I'm in. Let me learn about the people and the culture that have been here. And how can I get involved to help the vibrancy of this, revitalization of this, the renaissance of this? I think that's what will make the East Side and every other part of Austin, a success. Because it's not just on the East Side.
Yeah. But it's, like you said, it's especially hurtful on the East Side because of the history, because of the culture that is being eroded there. And I agree that like there's sort of a disconnect. And so bringing community together is the way to solve that, because even physically, like you said, there's building or houses that are these huge expensive houses that look very different, and people look different, and there's just not connecting, not always, but yeah, if we can just bring people together, we have more in common than we do not. So
absolutely.
Let's see, we have another question. How do you decompress when it gets tough?
Lots of sleep. Oh man, lots of sleep. We love that. Get the Z's. Honestly, when it gets tough, I definitely reach out to my colleagues for inspiration, because I know that they're doing the work too. I'm like, where you at? Where you at with this? Give me some type of inspiration. That's a part of the decompression, is just getting some inspiration and be like, okay, I can be at ease, because like I said, it's attainable. The work can be done. People are doing it. But just, taking a step back too, and just saying, I can come back to this work, because it's going to be there. But that's how I decompress, is, looking for counsel from others, or just positive words from the people that I work with and my friends, my peers. And then the general things, getting all that sleep. Snooze will make you lose sometimes, but sometimes it's super necessary. But yeah, that's how I decompress. Great question, Regine. We love.
I think that's so good, because for a lot of people that work in nonprofit work, or any sort of like community, like giving work, you often forget to take care of yourself, but you can't give to people as much if you're not grounded and taking care of yourself first. So that is great advice.
It's just so, I've talked to other nonprofits too, big and small. It always seems like we're trying to stretch our skills. Like, we do everything. Like, we're doing social media, we're doing administrative work, we're doing all this. And I've talked to so many, and that's the same thing. That's the narrative they share, and that's crazy to me. As we're talking about big organizations, and it still feels like they, are having to spread themselves thin. But like I said before, they have a passion for it. So it's like, that's what pushes them. That you have, especially in the nonprofit world, you have to have a passion for the people that you're serving.
Yeah. It's totally worth it at the end of the day, always.
Yes.
Lauren asks, I'm curious how you made the transition from the PR world to the arts culture world. What steps, serendipitous relationships brought you to Six Square and the work that you're doing now? she's a PR brand person and would like to be designing more experiences. So your job is letting her know that her vision can be real.
Snap. Talk about attaining things. Cool enough, I didn't share it, but I worked with the radio station in that NPR 2.5 years. So yeah, that's a great question. That is a great question. And all the real answer I have, and why I did it, how did you make the transition from the PR world to the arts culture world?
Yeah.
But,
That.
okay. How did I make the transition? It was as simple as, honestly, applying and getting the job. But I think I just put my creativity, I exercised it in a different way. Because I am a creative person, like I said, in my own right. But radio was definitely different for the work that I do now. We weren't always talking about, creatives. We weren't talking about that at all. We're talking about messaging for certain campaigns and things like that, which if you're not really feeling it, you're not always there. But I think it was just exercising my creativity in a different way. What steps? Really being connected to my community is what definitely put it in sync with the people that I did know on the East Side, or actual people that I saw, being affected by gentrification, being affected by the counter of the work that we do. That's what definitely was the hook, and I think made it easier for my inside, for me, in my own experience. But I'm still learning a lot. So as far as like transitioning, I'm still learning a lot about how to navigate in this realm, which I think it came pretty naturally because, like I said, I'm a creative. I can't paint or nothing like that. I've done it before. I've had some nice things on my wall, but yeah, I think it's just learning to exercise what you already do in a different realm, and then taking whoever you're under or people that you trust, people that you look up to guide you through this new environment that you're going through. Having those people around to address any questions or concerns that you have is definitely helpful. Pamela Benson Owens is an amazing leader. I have the privilege and honor to work under her, and she's definitely helped me in this journey. I'm learning a lot of things in connection with Sixth Grade. And we could talk about it a little bit later too, because I would love to dive into that. I've been working since I was 14, and I've been working in PR since I was 19. I still feel like I do some PR things, but there's definitely different ways that PR takes its form. So I definitely get that question. I understand that. That was a great question. I'm just sitting here with it. I love that. So good, Lauren.
Court is asking about your music and creative process.
As an artist, my music. So right now my music is being created, and whatever I have created hasn't been published. It's not put out because of my own personal things happening inside, because I'm sensitive about the things that I create, as I should be, because I care so much about it. But that creative process is it's supernatural. It's very supernatural and supernatural. Let's go, Shelbi. And that's how I connect with a lot of the artists that we work with. It's such a genuine, it's a genuine process. And me personally, I sing with the cover band. I've been with them for about 2 years now. So I love singing live, and I love creating the music. And I have experience in both. But my creative process starts with just, where am I at right now? Honestly, it's really off of experiences. When it comes to writing and singing, what do I feel? Where am I pulling from an experience? What was I feeling from that experience? Sometimes they're relived just to create for me. I've learned that with different other types of creators. But my music, my inspiration and influence stems from gospel, R&B, soul, blues, jazz, pop, you know, everybody's favorite these days. Classical, I'm really widespread where I pull from, which has contributed to my creative process. Thank you so much for asking about that, Corey. That was good.
That personal side of you, I appreciate that. I think it is so helpful, especially with the work that you do, like you said, being able to relate to other creatives, even though you're not like as actively in the like putting out your produced work. Being able to understand the creative process is so helpful. Okay, David.
Another piece of the creative process is my hesitation and my anxiety, because that's my sensitivity to the work that I create that will one day come out. Man, COVID-19 just messed up everybody's rhythm, but something's coming out soon, so yeah.
On COVID-19, Damon has a question. He's asking how the pandemic highlighted the work that Six Square champions, given the disproportionate adverse impact that the African American community is experiencing as a result of the pandemic.
Oh, Damon, I gotta read this for myself.
Okay, it's a
how did the work the Six Square champions given? Okay, I think just what's happening today. Like the work with the DJs that we're working with and giving them, because it's been super, if I'm understanding the question correctly, this disproportional adverse impact the African American community is experiencing as a result of the pandemic. Because we realize that, you know, a lot of people are just, their lives are disrupted by the pandemic, from the illness itself to financially, relationship-wise. There are things that, you know, we're working on as an organization to address those things. Like we're even talking about what mental health really looks like for African Americans in this, and the anxiety that comes with this. Those are things that are this pandemic is definitely forcing a lot of people to think about too. We have officials talking about, as far as the medical industry, that is disproportionately affecting African Americans. African Americans are dying at a way larger rate than their counterparts in the country. So I think that that's what's being brought to light, you know, in this, with everything that's happening. And then we're countering that as much as we can, especially when it comes to creatives and entrepreneurs that are being heavily impacted by this financially, and giving them a place to hopefully some type of support or a place to make some more money. So I hope I answered your question, Damon. That was a good one. But yeah.
Yeah, it definitely brings to light, like puts a spotlight on the work that you're doing, because we have all this data that's reinforcing the disproportionate impacts, the negative outcomes that happen in communities of color. It's just being shown. Like I saw numbers in Chicago that 30% of the population is Black, but 70% of people have been affected by the disease, which is just like way off.
And that's due to the, you know, disparities and equity and, you know, financially in the country. Like, it's not that like people are more susceptible or they're dying or whatever. That's not the problem. So it's forcing, you know, officials and then everybody else in the community to look at what's, you know, what's happening with that. Why is there a gap? Why? And I think the gap is with things that we can control. Like this is a matter of equity. This is a matter of having the same resources for this community that the other you know, so as far as that piece and controlling.
Yeah. Actually, Adler did a talk with the Austin Justice Coalition last night, and I tuned into that because he's seeing those numbers across the country and is trying to be preventative in Austin. And I believe that the equity office is doing some equity studies on this. I think that they're doing some talks as well. I don't have specific information on that, but I think that people could follow that and make sure that they're informed and educated on these issues, because it is an issue of equity.
Yeah.
Okay. Drisha asks, Shelby, how would you like to incorporate your musical passions into the community through Six Square and beyond? In a sense, you're an advocate for artists like yourself. So what is your vision to help others like yourself connect with their community in a healthy and fluent way?
Just bring it all back to music. We still, like I said, Six Square works with different creators, and we've had different events that showcase. Like I've been showcased with my band last year. We did musical explorations at Six Square, and so having things like I can go off of what we wanted to do in this time, but because of circumstances, having a space for people to come and showcase their work in every right. Music is definitely falls under that umbrella. And 6 Days of Six Square, which I forgot to mention earlier, is another project of ours that we're still looking forward to. We're betting on it. I'm betting on it, Jordan. We wanted to incorporate a day where we're pulling local artists, people from Austin, Black artists, to come and showcase their work, because that is important to me too. All of the work that we do, but the ties with the music and the singing, that's home. And that's also a part of the Renaissance, the arts. every time of enlightenment, I feel like came from the arts and science and things like that, things just beyond politics, so that fosters, that fuels, and that pioneers the change. And so yeah, we want to have spaces for people to just show themselves however they are. Like I said earlier, letting them know that they can do this. There are people that want your work and are ready to support you and buy it. And I've experienced that, and that's what's kept me going. Excuse me. But yeah, that's definitely how I want to connect it. It's just giving people like myself a platform for that, whether it's virtually or it's real life. We're giving you a stage somewhere, but we've done that in the past, and we're looking forward to doing more of that for everybody, especially art and music. Thank you, Jerisha, for that question.
And I just want to recognize Damon as well. He just followed up on your response and said, excellent answer. Glad to see the work with Six Square continues to recognize the disparities and is working at the forefront of championing the cause of African Americans in Austin. Thank you, Damon. Megan wants to know the name of your band, if you can give a little shout out to your band.
Sure, Distinguished Sound. It sounds with a Z. Everything else is distinguished sounds. And we were out here gigging, but that changed everything. But we have a rotation of singers, and on Facebook Live every Sunday they host their own live. They're based out of Killeen, Texas. The band members are based out of, many of them are out of Killeen, but I'm here in Austin. So yeah, that's the band that I sing with. Yeah, we have a good old time. I get down, okay? I don't play with that. So yeah, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And like I said, on Facebook Live every Sunday evening, 9 to 12, they host, right now, Facebook Live, they host a whole set. It gets really fun. So yeah.
Well, we are almost out of time. We've had such good questions. I'm so glad that everybody chimed in with their questions. And I just want to say thank you again, Shelby, for the work that you're doing, that you continue to do. And thank you to everyone who showed up.
Hey, thank y'all so much. I appreciate this. Big Medium, you rock. Can't wait to work with you. Can't wait to work with you for real, for real. Man.
It's going to happen. All right. Yay. Okay. I'm going to sign off.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.